my daughter's just like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Hey, I didn't.
I
barely went in.
As my grandmother would say, just tell her, as my grandmother said, just keep on living. Just keep on living.
Just keep on living.
Right?
Welcome to Unpause It, new theme music, which is nice because we have a new way of watching movies and a new normal, and we even have a new guest on today, so it's all new. But we're happy to welcome you back to Unpause It for another reaction and review podcast. This time around, we are reviewing Mulan, the 2020 live-action version, which is subsequent to the 1998 animated version. So 22 years later, we're going to watch and see what we think of this latest version, which is only available on Disney Plus right now. So again, new normal, not in theaters. This is how we're doing this. Also, we did run into some internet issues with our guests, so if you are having any issues with the audio of that, that's why. We did our best. We humbly ask for your forgiveness. And, you know, maybe everyone was watching Mulan right that minute, and that's why it was all kind of choppy. But hopefully you'll get the gist, and we'd love to hear what you think of it. But here is the show.
I am Rachel. I am the mom, IT department, PR department, podcast production department of this podcast and family. It's all the same. This is...
I have no idea anymore. Oh.
Try. Dig deep.
I turn my here. Dad, construction, cook,
historian,
CFO.
Yes.
Pretty much it.
You are the CFO. And then the sauce, do you want to say something? Who are you? Yeah. Okay, that's the sauce. He's 14.
Surly.
He's Surly 14. And Furious Jeb over here, whose name is not actually Jeb.
Promote my channel.
Wow. Also she's the assistant director of the PR department. But she has her YouTube channel is called Furious_Jeb. And we are joined today by a representative of the Doggett family. But
yes.
Would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, so I am Vanita. I am the CFO. also the cook. Sometimes sous chef because nobody else does that. Dog whisperer, gardener, and mom extraordinaire. That's what I'm calling it.
I as someone with a black thumb who doesn't cook, I'm impressed by all those things. Because I'm just like, yeah, you do it all though. I mean,
So Dedrick has a draft going on right now. He's got fantasy football.
I think that's legit. I mean, I kind of feel jealous because, well, our favorite sport's over because our team's
We'll
done.
talk about that later.
Yeah, so he has a draft, and then Taylor went to tumbling, which I completely forgot about.
Oh, it's fine.
For cheer. So she's doing that. And Naomi is somewhere, I don't know where. So apparently it's just me.
Girl, bring it. We're happy to have you on. We have a little, my phone webcam up there, the s'mores cam. And so I've got them up there to see if they can.
An overhead gaming cam. Because you are the s'mores. You're the small Mars.
You're the s'mores.
Whoa, wait, I was smart.
I can't wait. I'd like to point out something. I did not hear you say that previously. I just knew it to be true. Henceforth, I'm awesome.
But
You
you're
heard it
tall, so
previously.
you can't be smart.
You guys, just before we get into the topic today, I know you guys have had some and obviously when you're stuck at home, what are you going to do? But home stuff, remodeling stuff, home care stuff, right?
Gosh, okay, so we've been in this house maybe 14 years, and it was new construction, and I was warned by a good friend of mine that around year 10, 12 stuff starts breaking. So we got an extra couple of years in there. And so we got at the top of the pandemic, the garage door motor died. Then the garage door itself, the springs and pulleys and whatnot just went bad. So we were literally stuck in the house when we were trying to do a soft serve ice cream run. One of our mess. We had all these plans to go support a local business, and we're like, all right, let's go. And then it's we can't get out. So we can get out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That'd be the worst thing, even just during a pandemic. You're like, we're going to leave finally. And then you can't leave.
You can't go. It's like we're stuck. So we're stuck in the house. So we've been doing that kind of thing. It's It's going crazy. Oh, and the hot water heater died. I forgot about that. That was very fun.
Yeah, those only last about 20 years at most anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ours is coming up on 20-ish or so years, but our house is 72 years old.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not the same. So everything's settled in. Nothing is straight. Nothing is
It's
square.
a little Tim Burton-y.
But everything mostly works.
Yeah.
Mostly. Yeah. And we've been working. We're doing this like at a pause moment between he's just tiled the bathroom downstairs and then we're going to go grout it after this. So
Fun.
Yeah, so you can't stop grouting. You have to grout until it's done. So we're doing this now, and we're going to grout. And it is actually a Star Trek themed bathroom tile. So the tile itself isn't Star Trek, but it's black, like space. And we have colors of Star Trek in there and some decorations of Star Trek that aren't permanent, like wall coverings and things like that. So it's in our nerd basement. So it has to go with a nerd theme.
Oh, it's nerdy.
Nerdy. I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm definitely going to share pictures after it's done. Though I did hear one of our kids at least was saying the colors reminded her of IKEA a little bit, the blue and the yellow.
Yeah, but she also speaks like that without really thinking. So, and you can tell who I'm talking about now.
Hey.
She's like, what the heck, man? What the heck? Well, cool. All right. Well, we have Vanita. Vanita is going to represent her family. I know y'all watched Mulan on Disney Plus last night, right?
Yes, we did. So everybody was really excited about it. Taylor had actually just gotten in from some sort of kayaking expedition with her friends at the park. So we were really excited about it. Everybody was looking forward to it. So I'm ready to jump into it.
All right. And we watched it last night. And apparently I found out, Vanita, I don't know if maybe, has everyone in your house seen the animated one from 1998?
So Taylor saw it, which is why she was super excited about it. Naomi had no reference, I think, for the animated one. So I don't know if she did. I don't remember that.
How about you and Dedrick?
Yes, no, we definitely have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone in my family apparently had seen animated except for me. I had never, I just don't.
Really?
Yeah. So I was looking up 1998. I'm like, well, what was I doing in 1998? I wouldn't have seen. I was really poor back then. Let's be clear. And I was working like 4 jobs at the time. So maybe I was like, I was like, I can't watch a movie right now. I just never got around to it. I never watched it. So I came into this cold turkey, like, well, it looks cool. The music was familiar to me, but just even though I hadn't seen it, because anytime you're watching anything Disney, it's like, oh, that's music from that. So I came into this cold too. So Naomi and I are right there. That's where I am with her. All right. Well, so just to recap, we are about to talk about Mulan, the live action 2020 that just came out.
Full spoiler alert.
Yeah. If you have not seen it, get off of this podcast.
That's right.
And then come back.
Though again, this isn't like a brand new thing. It was it's a live action version of a movie that was made and released in 1998.
Yeah.
You had 22 years.
But there's lots of spoilers.
A lot of things are different.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, my son has strong opinions. He thinks some of it was not as good.
He gets that from me.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to have some which that's the whole point, right? People are going to listen to this and be like, y'all crazy.
Right.
About anything. So let's talk about it. So Mulan, Disney Plus, what is today? Today is the 5th. So it came out on September 4th on Disney Plus. It was a premium thing too. So if you have Disney Plus, you're already paying for Disney Plus. You had to pay a premium of $29.99 USD, I think, to get
just to get it before it comes out December 4th or 18th or something like that
for free.
For everybody on Disney Plus. And I think also it'll probably get a physical release at that point, I'd imagine.
That'd be cool.
That's what kind of what it sounds like. And that's probably when a physical release would have happened had it been theatrically released anyway.
Yeah.
That timeline lines up to where they were probably getting ready to have those pressed now for that release. So everything's kind of following that way on the business side.
Yeah.
I think we did not get gypped on the price because we had how many people watching it? We had an outdoor viewing, socially distanced, and we had 10 people.
Yes.
On
No,
our
9.
patio. 9 people on our patio.
Wait. Yes,
And
we
a
had
dog.
9 people. So
And a
yeah,
dog.
we did our own little, like you said, a patio showing. So, people. I think a couple people there had Disney Plus, but they hadn't bought it. So we're like, yeah, let's watch it. It's fine.
Yeah. So it turned out to be a great value for that. So we're not dogging the $30 for the extra on Mulan. COVID struck, it would have been in the theaters, and I think it would have been a financial success in the theaters.
And it would have, and it's. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but we spent less on the movie via Disney Plus than we would have for movie tickets.
Yeah, because we were going to go see it. We were likely going to go see it in IMAX, which is a premium, and so definitely saved for the 4 of us. Although I still compare that to the fact that I wanted to see Scooby Doo, and I did not because I felt like I didn't want to pay $20 for Scooby. I was like, no, it's like, so
Right.
I don't know. This is going to be an interesting, foray into what people are actually willing to pay for movies. So,
Yeah.
it's like, but
Yeah.
That's very true.
And
Yeah.
Disney has there's no impetus for them to release any numbers on this. There's no tracking for it. There's no requirements.
True.
There's no contractual union agreement. And that's why we have box office numbers so that the whole production crew doesn't get gypped on, I worked on this $1 billion movie, but I only got $1.95. This one, they're not constrained to that. So we may never really know the real download numbers, but download numbers or, subscription numbers doesn't convey how many people. We did one purchase and 9 people got to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So those metrics are going to be a little weird.
Right.
It'll be and from the streaming standpoint, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I don't know. We're just all in this new whatever this is, and can't. And I think on our last episode of this podcast, 2 weeks ago, we were saying, we have been seeing a couple theaters are starting to reopen a little bit here and a little bit there, but everybody's like, well, do I really want to go for 2.5 hours around people breathing and
Well,
maybe
people do
not.
the Alamo Draft House is open, but it's kind of weird. There are bars open, but you can't take your
Yeah.
drinks in. It's kind of weird. Drive-in theaters are making tons of money
Huge
showing
company.
old movies, which is great.
Yeah. Do you have any near you?
We do. We have one drive-in that's still around.
Nice.
Same here. Yeah. Just one.
Have you been to it since lockdowns happened and stuff?
I have not, because I think they were showing stuff I didn't really want to see because it was probably in the horror genre, and I don't do horror. So
late night
I
horror
basically
movies. Yeah.
in Technicolor, and if I, see a horror movie, whatever it is going to chase me in my sleep, and then I can't sleep for 2 hours after that. Because
I used to be into it, and I loved it. Stephen King was one of my favorite authors, and nowadays I'm just no, I don't need it. I'm too old.
Right.
Don't wanna.
Yeah. So our little outdoor screen, I think, is 70 inches, which was plenty for where we were for our patio to keep everybody distant. How did you watch it? Did you watch it at home? Did you watch it on a computer? Do you have a big TV? How did this experience work with you?
Yeah, so we watched it in Dedric's man cave. So he has the huge TV and the nice sound and all of that. And so we basically just piled up on the sofa and checked it out there.
Nice. And visually speaking, was it splashy? How did you?
Yeah, we'll get it. So this will kick us off. How is it visually for you? Live action, what we were expecting. What did you think?
I thought the imagery was really pretty amazing. I loved the costume designer. I made sure to see who was the costume designer. I wonder if they'll get a nod for that. Everything else from the city, where I felt I don't even know if it's really a city. It was kind of weird because that was the first thing we noticed was the village that everyone lived in. It almost looked it was very interesting. I don't remember that from the first Mulan.
No, not at all.
It reminded me of Kung Fu Hustle a little bit.
Yeah, I do believe that's an older style of fort village. So they're farming around it in a circle, and they can lock themselves in at night from invaders.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
It's kind of what I got from that. But yeah, visually stunning.
Would have been great to see at IMAX.
Yes.
Truth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's hoping maybe they'll do re-releases, like if people are like really want that theater experience to have that. I mean, there are just those movies where you're like, it's great. We have a really nice TV. It's great. But to see it in that big kind of where you just feel encompassed by it can make a big difference.
Yeah, and sound makes a difference on that one too. Our sound outside is interrupted by crickets
and cars
and
we'll have to rewind.
Getting up to get a beer out of the cooler. But cooler light, that's on our list of things to get, is a light for the cooler.
That's right. We had it all dark out there, and we kept like people would go up and get another drink out of the cooler and they don't have to use a phone light. It's kind of like Alamo where like they're running, and
yeah, we're all everybody's hunched down and everything. But yeah, visually stunning.
So what was and we've got notes too. We can just start going. So what was like the first thing you kind of were like, ooh, or you took note of as we started going through the movie?
So again, like the costume, I was just really completely enthralled with the costume. Yeah. The other thing was just, the relationship between Mulan and her father, kind of watching that in the opening scenes and really how proud he was of her, but then he, constantly having to shrink back into this traditional role. That was one of the things that I really appreciated. And then Dedrick and I had some comments on some of the later scenes where, it was like, well, this is obviously some martial arts, and Dedrick took Kung Fu. So, he attention to this. And so we're looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know if like some of this CGI was completely necessary for like when Mom was when she was on top of the roof in that first kind of scene opening up. I was just like, I don't think I like this, because it's like I could obviously see the CGI effects there.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of the Kung Fu and the fighting, I was extremely disappointed in the fact that it was trying to be a Disney martial arts, Chinese style Kung Fu movie, and just there's a fight here, there's Donnie Yen doing something here, there's Jet Li doing something there, and then but nothing really stood out. There was no if they were going to do that stuff that was like you said at the beginning where she's like kind of running off the roof, it should have been that throughout the whole movie. And there was long spots where it's just like, okay, where's the Kung Fu? Where's the action? Where's the action movie?
Right.
It takes you out. And then when you get into the action, you're like, wait a minute, where's the drama? Where's the emotional turmoil? Where's the identity crisis? It doesn't merge at all for me. So
I felt like, and just kind of seeing, and then later they talk about chi, and then I feel like that translated into what we've seen in a lot of these Kung Fu movies about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or House of Flying Daggers, where there is that, it's almost like they're flying, as they utilize their skills.
There's more artistry in it, and I feel like that was what was lacking. So like that, one of the real things I picked up, because I love Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I mean, it's like, and I was just like, they could have done more. And so Dedrick's comment was like, he was like, they lost the ability to actually really capitalize on the fight scene itself. You didn't need to have CGI inserted in some of these things. The fight itself is beautiful. Yes. But there are the other pieces that I think that were actually still kind of true to how you utilize the culture, and that he went in to talk to the general, he himself, he was in the middle, I don't know if anyone paid attention to it, he was doing calligraphy, he was writing.
Yes.
There's that, but Dedrick talks about that all the time, where he's like, you're supposed to be well-rounded. There is not just this one thing where you're only a warrior. They recognize that you still had to actually be fully immersed in everything else. There's some softness in that. And so watching that piece too, if you knew that, you'd be like, oh, that's nice. I'm glad they incorporated it, because I appreciated that.
Yeah. Did anyone else in the room think of the Avatar: The Last Airbender episode where Sokka goes and learns sword fighting, and he has to do the calligraphy.
That was my first when Donnie was writing.
They didn't even talk. Naomi and Dedrick didn't even talk about that because they typically watch Airbender. Yeah.
I thought of that because that was part of his training, which I totally went there. I'm like, so I knew it was Donnie Yen. I'm like, okay, he's gonna be awesome anyway. But and you'd seen that already scene where he was just being Donnie Yen and being amazing. But I really did appreciate that too, where as you can see, there is more to him than just being a fighter, which did kind of lay the groundwork saying and again, this is someone who hadn't seen original Mulan. He's going to be someone who's going to maybe understand, which later as we lead into it, I was like, oh my God, really? You're not going to understand? What the heck? I thought you were like a dude. So, yeah. But no, you're right. The costumes were phenomenal. I agree. I think that's going to be, it was just beautiful. And again, something where animated series can do certain things. We've seen ones, I think we love Hayao Miyazaki. I loved Beauty and the Beast when it came out, because I felt like that was one where they really started bringing the animation out to stand out. But there's just something about when you see it on live action, and it just is so vibrant. And I thought, and I loved how they showed her being prepared for the matchmaker and just having to put all of that pomp, on poor thing. Yeah. And they're just like, oh my God. And I have to yank her hair. I felt that. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. That was really, it was good. I'm trying to think, was anything else? Like, I know we had some notes starting. I mean, I don't think our notes really start, at least my notes didn't really start until like later, but.
Right. What is your opinion of using a phoenix in this story versus a dragon in the animated? Now, Eddie Murphy voiced the dragon in the 1998 Mulan. So you're not going to have some wisecracking comedian, hilarious dragon. But did that change anything for you using a different image?
So Taylor, this is where Taylor did not like it. She didn't like it at all, because she was like, I miss the dragon. I was like, well, that's the whole point of the phoenix. And she's like, no, I want I want old Eddie Murphy. I want the songs. And I was like, well, there's a score. And I mean, like, she just could not separate the two. She wanted what she experienced as a kid versus what this is now. And so I like the phoenix imagery. And I guess I would be curious, because I did know that as she was in the camp with everyone else, and she is pretending to be who she is, this a boy essentially, and the phoenix doesn't make any appearances. The phoenix doesn't come back until,
Was that because she was not holding the truth value? Like she was deceiving? Because I wondered that later.
Yeah.
Because it led her to the camp.
Right.
But then you don't see it until, and I don't remember when you see it again. I think it somehow.
You don't see it again until after she has the encounter with.
That's right.
The witch.
I don't even want to call her the witch. I don't like that. And she has an encounter, and then you see the phoenix again, and then the phoenix is back. And so, I'm just curious, like what happened with the phoenix? The phoenix just, is that all symbolic there? Because I would imagine maybe it is, but
yeah. Georgia, you said that too. You were wondering why they were using a phoenix versus a dragon.
Well, my friend at school said it when we were talking about Mulan.
Yeah.
And she was like, but there's only dragons. There's no phoenixes anywhere.
And I looked up IMDb, and of course it's just came out, so the trivia on IMDb just is starting to build. But it did talk about, they said the phoenix is, I need to go find it, is a symbol in Chinese culture, I think for renewal or something like that.
And that was my question too, is this really a Chinese symbol, or are we Europeaning?
A sign of peace and prosperity in Chinese culture, which, so Kate, think about that. That doesn't seem to jive with me, because it's not like, peace, they weren't really, she's a warrior. Prosperity, bravery. That wasn't the goal either. It just seems like, so why the phoenix? What happened there? I think,
Well,
Yeah.
Well, the phoenix, the father was praying and asking the phoenix to guide her, and the phoenix was part of their,
their family thing.
And so that makes sense. And so the Phoenix is doing that. But even if not outside of peace, remember the only reason that they are fighting is to preserve peace. They're not fighting because they were actually going to go in and lay waste to something. They were trying to keep the kingdom itself from being,
Yeah, you're right. Because like they had the Phoenix, the decal thing he had there. And also the fact, at the very beginning, she breaks the wing of that Phoenix.
Yeah.
And they're putting it back together. I did think they seemed to develop that pretty well. That if there was any relationship in there, they developed pretty well between the father and the daughter, and that, again, like you said, that conflict there where he sees her potential, but due to culture, it's like, I want to encourage you to be more than your station allows you to be, but I can't. And of course, then we have which a familiar actress for us all is Keiko. The actress who plays Keiko in Star Trek, Rosalind Chow, is the mother of Mulan, and she's basically the one who's hardlining, saying she can't do this, she has to be this, so come, you need to tell her, she needs to realize you need to do this and stuff. But then that which led to the spider scene.
Yeah, the spider scene was funny. That was funny. And then was there any other real humor besides the sleeping thing where she would have to block the rolling over dude when they're on their cots?
I don't know.
There was a couple of funny scenes thrown in.
It was pretty serious.
But
it
those
was
fell out of place a little bit.
The spider thing, the matchmaker was scared of the spider too.
Oh yeah, everyone got freaked out.
Why would she say that Mulan's not a fit person? Because
she didn't see the spider.
I thought she saw the spider.
The spider kind of jumped at her.
She screamed at something.
Well, after she moved it, the spider jumped at her.
Yeah.
And then you're had Mulan's hair not fallen on her face. I mean, she had it under control. She caught everything.
Yeah.
Was that woman still going to be like, "You're terrible, but you broke my crockery, so now you're not good," or?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But kind of going on that, there's a couple of funny scenes, but it wasn't a comedy.
No.
But the funny scenes kind of didn't really hit with me. They felt out of place.
They were very sporadic, for sure.
Now going kind of around and around again, back to some of those fights that we're talking about. Was there any fight that really stood out as, oh, that was amazing? For me, not really. As far as the fights go, there were some very amazing individual acrobatic skill demonstrations. Like Donnie Yen, when he was instructing his soldiers with the sword, read somewhere where Ben told me that they had to get different cameras because his sword was stuttering because he was moving it so fast in real life because he's trained, right? Things like that were impressive. But as far as the combat goes, did anything really stick out?
No, the scene where they were practicing, I thought that was really good, and that's where I think the potential was lost. To really see her chi in all of its full glory and display, and then she immediately realizes that she has to pull it back because she doesn't want anyone to know, or it would out her. So now she's like, it is literally going to out me. Why would you do that in her own battle with it? The Emperor's scene when he comes in for Boracon, and
right?
he's like, that was.
That's what I was kind of looking for. That's what stood out for me as well. Yeah. I didn't want to plant any seeds on that one. I wanted to see if that actually stood out. Because they did. I wanted to see Jet Li and Donnie Yen together again on screen.
Oh, yeah.
We never do. Really.
No.
Yeah.
Can't give us everything. No, I agree with you. I really liked, I remember feeling myself oh, this is going to be so satisfying. When she starts, I can't remember the other guy's name, the one where they kind of butt heads, but then wind up being,
love interest.
Yeah. Well, even if that, they don't really go that way.
They hinted at it quite a bit.
It's fine. They didn't need to. But I was really, because here we go. And you see how skilled she is. But I felt like they just, I was not as satisfied as I thought I was going to be. I was like, okay, but where's the rest of it? Going back to the tent, everybody's like, dude, that was amazing. Oh my God, you stink. And which is the
Oh
other
yeah,
thing.
the joke thing. I didn't even remember the smelly thing being a joke, but it was totally a joke. Yeah.
So I want to come back to humor for a second. How did you guys feel about, like, again, talking about Taylor, what she was hoping for? Was she hoping for as much humor as I guess was in the animated one, or what did she think about that? What did you guys think about that?
I think she was. I think she was really kind of looking for that. And again, like I mentioned, she missed the original Disney music. Those songs were missing for her.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know that I was really looking for the songs. I was looking for, the score itself. And I kept telling her that. I was like, no, but it's got a score. Like, it has beautiful music accompanying it in places, but she missed it. Not so much the humor. I think, you know what? And now I can get why Jeremiah's like, it falls kind of flat, because I think I was more so looking for the fight scene. I was looking for that, and I just didn't. Yeah, you don't get enough.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And again, I hadn't seen the animated, but I knew who was in it. Right? I'm like, why would you put Jet Li and Donnie Yen? And, again, this new star, which I'm like, who doesn't want to see? I mean, God, Kill Bill is still one of my favorite movies ever, because you see a woman just throwing down because she's awesome. And so I was waiting for that. And I do feel like they just did not serve us all that. There was, story, and they were trying to evolve that and her struggle, and that's great. But man, you got live action. I want to see some of that stuff. That's why so many of us have been looking forward to, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender live action, because you want to see the bending, and all the cool moves and stuff they do. But yeah.
Yeah. And is this movie supposed to be a female empowerment movie? Is it supposed to be a Chinese and Asian culture product? Is it supposed to be just a kung fu movie? Is it supposed to be a fantasy movie? Is it supposed to be a comedy? Is it supposed to be a coming of age movie? It tried to do all of that, and none of it hit, like, real hard.
It did.
Jet Li's
like
fight was the best, and he's not the star. He's a minor character in this one.
That's true.
Right? Mulan, she had some great moves and everything, and the fight with the we'll call her the sorceress warrior, because she had that claw hand that was pretty cool, but it was too short, really, frankly. The fight scenes didn't really stick out. There was the corridor fight scene where her squad was like she like bolted them in, whatever, and they all survived. It was like,
I did feel like, I mean, I wrote down some notes too. I think if it had to land on any kind of movie that it was a female empowerment. It was like a fight the patriarchy, fight the misogyny, I mean, just even where the sorceress, and they insist on calling her a witch. And I think she makes a statement saying, you're calling me a witch, I'm not a warrior. She obviously is, she's a warrior. And
you couldn't even be what you are without her. I was so mad about that. Like, I was like, you call her a small dog? Oh, yes. I would kill him. I would kill him. I was like, it's a setup. Because what I wanted was, like, I wanted the sorceress to actually be like, oh, okay. All right, that's what it is. All right, let me show you. You have nothing. And then when they go in to open up to take the Imperial City, that it is, like when Mulan comes in, she is the one sitting on the throne. That's what I wanted. I wanted her to be like, let me show you. And then I lay waste. But I realized that that's a whole nother movie, and that's not about Mulan. But, like, I was really kind of upset about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I honestly want to see her story.
Yeah. I said that last night. She felt so deep and yet so shallow. Like, there was so much there that could have been explored.
Yeah.
And I said this last night. I think this would have been much better served as a Disney Plus series, like the Marvel series that are coming out, 8 episodes of an hour long. Yeah. And then, like, episode 2 and 3 are like the training. So then you can really flesh out that the real camaraderie, how she really, becomes part of the group. And then 4, 5, and 6, she's like outed. And then 7 and 8 is just battles.
And time for all the fighting, but yeah.
And you can go into the backstory of the sorceress. I didn't say her name.
Xi Yang, I think. I'm sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong.
I can't
because I think it's in IMDb. But yes,
I don't want to even try on that one, but could have fleshed that out, and I would have agreed with you that having her the real enemy, the real villain, the real just obstacle to the whole Mulan story would have been great, but it ended up being misogyny and the system of Chinese tradition was the enemy, and I felt kind of insulting.
Well, and Willis made a statement where he's sitting next to me, and he's like I think it was the point where saying, no, you cannot take my place. Know your place. You're going to be here, and you need to marry, and that's how you bring honor. And Willis says, that's a bit of a dumb system. It's like, yeah. Well, it is. It sucked for women, especially if they were like, that's not where I want to be. But
yeah, so it felt just a little bit all over the place.
Yeah. So would you agree? Mostly, it was about women empowerment. Mixed it, and the fact that it was in the Chinese culture. And
definitely, I definitely would. I mean, I think that's what they wanted to do, because you think about it, Disney has gotten slammed for continuing to do these whole, the guy is going to save me kind of movies, and not do that. And so over the years, they tried to do that. I mean, they tried to do that with Frozen. They did that with The Princess and the Frog. So like they know, and so they've got to get out of that whole genre, I think.
Well, it was nice too. I mean, again, our friends were over, and Jamie is one of my friends, and she's Asian, and I know she really appreciates seeing a movie where all the actors, it's not Americanized, it's actual actors who are from that are Asian actors, and that they are her, they reflect her, and so it's not like you had Americans being Chinese people and stuff like that.
You don't have David Carradine playing a Chinese man in Kung Fu.
Yeah. So
that is like the first thing I asked when the movie started. I asked Dedrick, I was like, hey, do you know the cast? How many people are actually Chinese? Because I want to make sure that we're not, taking some American actor and throwing them in there, and
a lot of these actors are American, but
Chinese.
Asian descent. Yeah. Donnie Yen speaks perfect English because I think he was born in Hong Kong and came to America when he was like 3. Things like that. So what you were saying, it definitely had the right profile of cast, but I said this last night as well. It was totally Americanized.
Okay.
It felt like we're trying to mimic a Chinese movie when it would have been better just to say, hey, take this Mulan, you Chinese director, Stephen Chow, somebody like that, who is immersed in the Chinese movie industry, and say, make this movie for us.
It was directed by Nikki Caro, who is a New Zealand film director and screenwriter.
Yeah, she's not Chinese, but she's female, so that's where that female empowerment probably came through.
Yeah,
but it totally felt Americanized, and I felt conflicted on that one because obviously it was cast well, and
it was cast very well.
Yeah, performances were good.
So we were speculating about this last night. Would you have enjoyed it more? And I wonder if I would have, had it been all in Chinese with English subtitles. Right?
Like I'm going back to my Saturday afternoon life as a kid watching, Kung Fu movies, right? And so, I don't know, maybe?
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I was wondering that last night, and we do have a whole section where we're talking about places where we feel like they either were doing an homage or possibly just copying some tropes. But before we move on, any other? Because I think we talked a bit, chronologically through the movie about, okay, she's at the village, she's messes up with the matchmaker, she takes her dad's stuff. Anything from that kind of first act going into the second act where she's training, anything else that jumped out that you were like, ooh, or
way to be so eloquent.
No, I think I felt the most pain when her father was before the Imperial Guard and was trying to stand there and be strong, knowing that he needed that cane, and he threw it down, and then she wanting to rush out to her dad and her mom, immediately pulling her and saying, no, you will humiliate him further. Like, I felt like that was a little bit of a dagger. That scene at dinner was pretty tense. Like, that got everybody in the room to gasp. They were like, when he was like, I am the father, and they're like, Like everyone's like, oh.
We
like,
all looked at Maya like,
Like, that's right. That's right.
I mean, I can get it. Like he is trying to, really kind of say that this is his place and this is what he's supposed. And so there's that struggle there, I think, for him with, being this great warrior that he was, and now cannot do that. And how does he feel? And there's no one to take up it. Like he was going through a little something. I think that was missed. But he did a great job of portraying that on the screen. Because I
agree. And actually, now that you say that, I never at any point disbelieved anything he did. He was really good at bringing that across and showing that conflict. He was feeling weak. He felt he wanted to do his duty, and he knew he couldn't. He's probably going to die doing it. In the midst of all that, I mean, that's his own struggle. But then he's got a daughter who he probably knows could go kick some butt. Even though he shares, he does share. I loved his prayer for her, where he's just like, please protect her. She doesn't know, help her, because I bet he just figured she might get killed, which is awful.
Or other things that, we don't want to talk about. But I mean, kind of, it was hinted at, and then it got super lighthearted. I'm like,
I did think, all right, so if you get into the whole, a woman trying to hide herself amidst men, they showed some of that. The lesson I kept thinking of other aspects of being a girl, and I was like, I don't know really how you were hiding all that.
You don't hide that. That.
Smell will only get you so far removed from people where they're like,
Yeah, and so it's a fantasy movie.
Yeah.
So you kind of take yourself out of that a little bit, but it wasn't fantastic enough. Fantastical enough, if there's a word. Not, like you said, not enough of the Phoenix in that section.
Yeah,
because that could have if the Phoenix was there blinding the other people to her true identity, that would have been just a great way to slide it in. I would say this: the father, the mother, Mulan, Donnie Yen's general, all the co-soldiers, the sorceress, which I can't remember her character's name, and then all the marauders, everybody performed their part extremely well. So I think what's kind of being fleshed out here is that our problem here is with how the story evolves throughout the movie.
How it's told. Yeah. In the animated one, was that the same conflict that Mulan in live action was having about, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be having these three values, but that the truth part, the fact that I'm hiding who I am, is really digging at me? Was that a conflict that she had in the animated? I don't remember.
I don't remember that. I mean,
it was.
You don't think so either?
I mean, it's been like ancient.
It is 22 years old.
I saw it when it first came out. I think her main conflict was that the fellas didn't accept her.
Okay.
As a good warrior. I think that was the main animated concept.
Because this one, the live action that we saw last night seems to, and even the sorceress implied that your chi is weak because you're lying to yourself. You're pretending. Yeah. And then she has that fight with her, and then they say, so Juan did die because now it's just Mulan, because now she will no longer lie about who she is. But I thought interesting. I wondered that if that was that what they did in the animated one. It's interesting, but yeah.
We're going to take a quick break to pay some bills, but we'll be right back with the episode after this message from our sponsor.
Our website, unposit.com, is hosted very nicely, very pain-free by iamhelix.com. Helix does managed WordPress hosted sites. I've used WordPress, I think, just about on every website I've ever made. I've done the WordPress.com, I've done the WordPress.org, so the WordPress hosted stuff. I love it because it's pretty easy to use. Does anyone in this room know what it means to host a website?
I was going to.
Or are you going to know, or are you going to do it?
I was going to get it.
Oh, we can still do that. I just keep forgetting, dude. There's just like us. You know who we could turn to for that? Helix. So Helix manages our website. Basically, that just means I don't worry about it. We put stuff on it, we publish it, and that's all we care about. And they care about the rest. So if you guys need a website hosting service, someone who's going to take all of that pain out of the process, iamhelix.com/unposit, all one word, and go visit them and get your website going. They also help people get podcasts off the ground, which is pretty cool.
And now back to the show.
Can we just talk about her hair for a second? Because her hair was like perfect throughout like this all of this fighting. I'm like, all right, Hollywood. There you go.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so they were hiding her as a
jealous.
woman, going full circle again back into costumes, right? She looked, masculine in the armor, right? So that was really well done. All the costumes, like I said, were well done. And then the makeup for that, like her face was blanched, right? And then all of a sudden she pulls her hair down and has lipstick on.
That was
I'm
pretty
like,
funny.
really?
Yeah.
It was the Phoenix
They're a little
lipstick.
glossy. Yeah, that was a little glossy. You're right on that. I mean, I just thought like when she had the fight with the sorceress, and I just remember watching her, basically band herself, because that's a thing that you would have to do, as a woman, to make sure that you're not being found out, is that you've got to push them down, right? And so she did that. So when she had that fight, immediately I kind of realized, I was like, she's banded there. And so that has kind of saved her life. And then you got the Phoenix, and she's like realizing that too, had it not been for this, she would have died,
That's right. She would have been killed. And I hadn't even thought about that too. That thing was, constricting her. So not even just the fact that overall she is deceiving people, but she is actually wearing deception by banding herself, which is probably would make anyone not be able to fight to their fullest potential and breathe. And it's like a corset, right? But even worse. So that's interesting. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, that's what stuck out, because she pulled it out of the banding.
Yeah.
Thank God she had that, right? I didn't even think about the breathing part. Like taking all that stuff off freed her up so she can move the way she normally moves.
I don't want to get to, but at the end of every day, every woman feels that release.
You feel that. Yeah, it's like, oh, I can breathe.
Like, okay. So we talked about kind of, she's gone through, they go to battle. She is the only one, by the way. There are two of her warriors. Many of them get shot down. Two of them retreat, and she keeps pursuing. That's when she encounters the sorceress and goes through her dropping the pretense, I'm going to come back, and then she comes back. We did make a note. She fought. That was pretty good fight scene. I wish again it could have been longer, but where she sees all of her fellow warriors, soldiers, try to hide, and they're attacking them with a trebuchet, and she goes and has them, generate an avalanche. Which, just a quick aside, we made the comment, well, that's the only avalanche that succeeded today, because our team, the Colorado Avalanche hockey team, lost game 7. That was a heartbreaker. And we watched it. We finished watching it on delay, like 10 minutes before people showed up, and we're like, so seeing that avalanche, I'm like, well, at least we saw one good avalanche.
But yeah, that, as far as that goes, the fight, you said this, reminded you of the fight between Bruce Wayne and Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins. And then there's the I'm with Juan Mulan, I'm Spartacus moment. A lot of the sayings were a bit trite. There's no courage without fear, which is true, but it didn't feel organically original to that script. Delivered well, but not like just inserted. Some of the other ones that you had written down here, one warrior knows another.
I loved that line.
The scene was great, but the line, it just felt inserted.
I just totally disagree. That's the part where I cried.
Like I said, the scene is.
You're weak.
I'm not weak.
You just got called weak by your own.
I am not weak.
You are weak.
Hey, crying does not make one weak. Insert that line. But no,
I agree with you, Rachel. I like that scene. I felt like he knew, like she lost that sword in battle. He knew that, like that was not, I lost it because I was careless. I was working with it and I lost it in battle. And I think he knows that, I don't think he just assumed that she was careless with it or anything of that nature. I think that he knew.
And I loved that line because I was already tearing up at that point. But when he says one warrior knows another, and that to me brought together all of that. I can't acknowledge you as a warrior because you're a woman, and even though you're my daughter, I know it. That brought that to a resolution. Yeah. It's like, you are a warrior, and now I can finally say that, and I can finally acknowledge that to you. Yeah, because if anyone's opinion mattered to her about what they thought of her as a warrior, it was her. Yes. Yeah. So I loved it. I thought that line was like, that shook me.
Yeah.
But all of the lines shook me. I want to backtrack because again, we're kind of talking through the acts and stuff. So end of second act, getting into the third act, where now she knows she knows the plan. She dares, she risks her life to go back to her the garrison. Yeah. She goes back to her garrison and is like, please, you can kill me out, but hear me out first. This is the plan. And so and we have the quote unquote, I am Spartacus throwback where it's like, I believe her. We're like, I did think one thing, and again, this kind of comes up to why I do think it's a woman empowerment movie. It really seems like, you hear the sorcerers talking about how, and telling Mulan, I've been treated this way all my life for what I am. And I wrote down misogyny created an enemy. It was like, because men are treating a woman who's got chi, who's got power, as a witch, as a dog, and that helped turn her into who she was, which then you do see kind of play out at the end because Mulan does get accepted. She does not pick that path or go down the same path. So I thought that was kind of interesting too.
And this is where I think, they didn't do enough of a job with the villain.
Yes.
Because I'm not getting ready to tell you all this and let you leave. The sorceress could be duplicitous with the Borkan. Like, you gonna call me a scorn dog, then you tell me I'm a slave, then you know what? So yeah, I'm gonna give Mulan some nuggets so she can defeat you. So, I don't have to. You can die, you can be completely vanquished at the hands of someone else. So, I feel like there are some other missing pieces that they could have put into there to make that a little bit better because, I looked at that, I was like, so she just gonna let her go? She gonna give her the plan and let her go?
Yeah, I thought that too. I'm like, why did she just let her go? I really was wondering that. I'm like, that just seems very unrealistic to me. If she legit was I'm on these guys' side and I'm going to help take this down. I'm telling you that, I felt like, why didn't they just have a fight just then? Mulan can leave. But instead it was like, no, I'm not, I won't join you. I'm going to go and save the day. All right, then. That felt really weird to me. Maybe it was, again, laying the groundwork that she's going to turn.
Yeah.
So weird.
It could be, but they could have done that. That's another shot, right? That's another scene that is after Mulan leaves and going back, right? Because that doesn't even, it doesn't make sense. They just missed the ability there to make that a little bit more stronger.
I'd be interested. So this all gets back to sometimes, they've done those scenes, and do they end up on the editing room floor?
Yeah.
I wish I would know, what if because I would love, what if they did shoot a scene like that? What if that was part of the story and they're like, we don't have time, or, an editor or someone decided, let's not tell the story that way. Let's take that out. I always wonder that, where it's like, especially when it's that big of a gap.
You were setting it up. You set it up with the scene of calling her a scorn dog, her grabbing his throat, that tension there, it was already in the room. You didn't have to do a lot in order to capitalize on it.
Exactly. Yeah. I know it
Yeah.
left you wanting. For
And
sure.
I agree with your statement before. It should the ultimate battle scene should have been where she had already not disposed of the emperor. You want the emperor to survive because that's integral to Mulan's story. But she has the emperor captured, and she's now taken over the band and shown her true power, and they follow her. So now we have brigands following a female leader, and then we have the imperial forces following a female leader, and then they clash. At the end, that would have been a much better.
I would watch that. Yeah.
And
I mean,
how the sorceress goes out is completely unbelievable.
That shocked me.
No redemption there. Like I feel like there's a little bit when you let her hear, and then
I wrote that down and I didn't translate it up to these notes, but that took me completely by surprise. Like I would not have made that choice, and I don't necessarily agree with it. Is that she saves Mulan by taking the arrow? I'm like, okay, there just was lost opportunity there.
Yeah, I would have totally seen them setting up Mulan 2, right? Thinking that this was going to be a blockbuster where the sorceress gets away and Mulan catches the arrow, and now she's like wreaking havoc for Mulan 2.
Could she not have used magic to stop the arrow?
Right.
Chi magic? No.
Wasn't it too fast?
Could she not have, like all the other people who have chi in the movie, caught the arrow as the eagle turned into him? There are millions of ways this could have gone better.
He's like, this is not the way. This is not the way.
This is
this is not the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting. I was expecting more kung fu, kind of way less story actually. But more action, like tell the story through the fighting, tell the bonding through kung fu scenes, and then like an old style, not old style, but like like Drunken Master and Fist of Fury. They told the story through the fights. I was kind of expecting more of that in there, and then I really was expecting her, the sorceress, to be the main villain. Frankly. And then like that guy would have been just being used by her.
Do you think? Yeah. So okay. So let's carry that. So because it does feel like they kind of with the sorceress's ending and how that ended up, but then you're left with nothing but a disdain. We disdain this other guy who called her like, oh, you're not all that. You're merely this pawn, and so she's the one who brought you to power, bro. But so now all you've got is this guy. Of course, Mulan's gonna kick his butt because he's nothing. There's just not much substance there. He ran. He let the other warriors take all these arrows so he could go do this, whatever. You just are left thinking, how dangerous are you really? And it's a weak enemy at that point. So now that the sorceress is gone, I'm like, so that's the only enemy we have. Big deal, and so it was less satisfying to see Mulan fight him, even with the emperor cheering her on, which is great. But and again, yes. And then we get to the balance beam where I made the statement. I'm like, she must have had some really heavy meals at the garrison to be on the equal balance beam with this dude. Maybe her armor's really heavy. And my belief got unsuspended or unsuspended.
It ruined the ending for me, frankly.
The balance beam?
Yeah. It literally made me want to turn it off.
You didn't equate that back to what they had to do with carrying those buckets up the hill, and how that she was not the person sloshing them around in order to have that equal weight.
Oh yeah, she's strong, she's equal. I get that part of it, but if you were to shift your weight slightly on a piece of material suspended the way that was suspended, if a bird landed on it, it would have tilted. I mean, it just the sheer physics of it, even though they're jumping around and catching arrows, but that brought me out of it. And it was like, because I've worked with construction, I work with people in construction, and it's just like,
that just was not believable for you.
Yeah, you got to have it in a triangle. It's just because it won't work. They would have to be the exact same weight, and if you shifted your weight, it would move.
Yeah, I did find it more believable when she's leaping on and standing on the top of the, because we've seen that before, and it's great because it is about the chi and stuff, and so I believed that, and then the beam, I was like,
Yeah.
It was an eye roller for us.
It's whatever it is, but it's fine. I mean, that's it. It's fine. It wasn't just like, whoa. It's for me anyway. How do you guys feel? How do you guys feel as a family about that fight, like that last fight sequence and any of the other the palace fight sequences?
No, I think that we were fine about the balance beam and whatnot. It was just the arrow at the end got like the hilarious. So when the emperor catches the arrow and then flicks it back out, and Mulan throws it down and he didn't catch it. So Taylor is at the end. She's like, "Oh, he missed. He didn't catch it." It was just, oh, that's tough. It was just like, really?
Well, his reflexes were weakened at that point. He only fell like 8 stories. I mean, that's gonna slow down anybody.
Coming to the end over here, and the ending, like you said, that scene was really good. After this, and she goes home, I have to go home, family first, and then they add that to the sword, which is really cool.
But wait, we need to mention there was a cameo right there. Did you catch it? Did you catch Ming-Na Wen, who was the original voice of Mulan in the animated, is the woman that leads her down toward the emperor and introduces her.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. No.
She's not in the credits.
I love her. Dude, Agent May.
Oh, that's who it was.
George is like, what? That's Agent May? That was Agent
No, I was
May.
like, no,
You
I didn't
lied.
know who that was.
I did not lie.
So they had a throwback to the original voice of Mulan when she was very young. Or much younger, I should say. But
Nice.
when it was over and we're all kind of just like cleaning up and getting ready to split for the evening, we kind of went through some of our notes and things like that, and I was disappointed, and I had a good time watching the movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it was definitely worth watching. Yeah, but I wanted more kung fu.
No, I agree. So I think that the movie was great. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked the story. I feel like it just felt a little bit more personal this time than, maybe the animated one. But I don't think I went into this expecting all of what the animated version was. So I did like it, but you're right. I mean, like it was a fight scene. That's what I was hoping for, and I didn't get near enough kung fu. It's like it wasn't enough. That's the whole thing. Like, I think that when we saw the trailer initially, like, had to have been when we went to see In-Game or something. I don't even remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So long ago.
I know, so long ago, right? So when we saw the trailer, we were like, oh, because we were expecting the kung fu. I mean, because that's kind of what they showed in the trailer initially. Like, it was just having as much was sad.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think even we've been talking about Kill Bill, and last night after the movie's over, I'm like, now I want to watch Kill Bill because I want more kung fu. I want to see a woman kick some butt over and over and over and over and over again and live through it all. And men are just like, well, I can't hold a candle to that because,
and it makes a lot of sense because we
felt
watched
the same.
Clash of the Titans after.
Did you really? You went on, you're like, let's watch another movie because we need some more fighting.
Yeah, obviously we did. I didn't even think about that we needed more fighting. So we watched Clash of Titans.
That's awesome. I love that you're like, let's just move on to something else.
So y'all watch Kill Bill?
No, we did. I would have liked to. It was too late, but now I want to. I mentioned that after the movie, we're all sitting talking about it. I'm like, no, I want to watch Kill Bill.
Yeah, we didn't start the movie until a little after 8.
Yeah.
Because it was like a drive-in experience right outside. So it had to be late. So when it was over, it was a little after 10. And then we were watching Steve Martin banjo YouTubes. Because, we're weird. And I wanted to watch the Sozin's Comet 4-episode arc of Avatar, The Last Airbender, the series finale. Yeah, just because I wanted better kung fu, and that's animated, I guess. But I mean,
yeah, I don't know. But I agree with you, Vanita. I think the previews we saw, we were all. I totally thought I'm going to see a beautiful. It was beautiful, Chinese. China was totally Chinese.
It was.
I'm going to see a beautiful story about a girl who is a fighter and has to fight her way to earn respect through her fighting, and in the process wins stuff for her country. But in all of that, I'm like, fighting. I'm going to see some fighting. I'm going to see a girl fight. It's going to be good. And I was like, well, I saw a girl fight. I could have taken some more fighting. So all that to say, dear Disney, we really wanted some more fighting.
Yeah, it reminds me.
I don't know if maybe Disney thought, well, we're family, but you got Marvel at this point now. I mean,
it's Disney, and they should be used to this. First Disney live action remake to receive a PG-13.
So they could have gone a little hard on the action.
I know. I wonder it makes me wonder, though, again, if the editing process, were they hitting too hard on the violence / fighting, and they're like, we're going to get an R if we
maybe.
I don't know, but you're right. Maybe it was the family component of it saying, hey, we better not, because there's going to be people who've seen the animated and they're expecting a family movie, even though we have two of the most amazing fighters ever to be in cinema in this same movie. But yeah, maybe that was a choice they made where they're like, we can't skate that far over the line or something, or up to it.
You missed that point though, when you still had a better opportunity in the training scenes then.
Yes.
That's where you could, if you're trying to avoid, obvious violence, that's where you do that. But it just,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things happen off camera. So, she slices somebody, but the edit is right before it's contact. You cut to another part and the soldier has fallen, the enemy has fallen. And the battle scenes with her and the Empress or Sorceress, those were not bloody, but they were brutal. Like, they were good, and they could have been extended. Would that have, switched it from PG-13 to R? I don't think so. If you kept the blood out of it, and there was obviously no nudity and no cussing, so I think they could have upped the kung fu fighting, insert funny song here, and then kept it PG-13 and just more action, because there was way more action in, say, Black Panther and Captain America, Winter Soldier, and all these Marvels. Those are PG-13.
I'm just trying to look up the editor and see if I can find. I did see, Benita, you said you took note of the costume designer, Bina de Giler. I'm sure I'm not saying that right.
Yeah.
You guys go check her out. She's got ones I can't repeat.
Okay.
All right then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna repeat that.
No, that's not family friendly titling.
Anyway, but yeah. So, what would you, Benita? What did you guys mostly? Did you find it was an entertaining movie, or were you guys kind of like on a scale like 1 to 10? What would you guys? And if you want to break it out by who liked it best, or by individuals, what did you guys think? What'd you rate it?
So I think if I were rating it for Taylor probably gives it a 4 because it was missing some of her pieces. I'd probably give it maybe like a 6. It wasn't terrible. Like, there were some things that I was missing. I really liked the story development. The characters were pretty decent. Like, I felt like I could relate to everybody. Naomi really liked it. So I think Naomi probably gives it about a 7. And I'm wondering, I think Dedrick may have given it maybe a 6 or so as well. Like, he liked it. He liked that it was different. And he wasn't expecting it to be the same. So, yeah.
Okay. So Willis, what did you rate it?
5 out of 10 max.
Okay.
Failing grade.
Failing grade.
Failing grade, like a 50%. We're talking not just mediocre.
Yeah.
Some people will say 5 out of 10 would be a C grade if you're doing it on letters. but
It's like you can't even get extra credit.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, he's giving this an F
Yeah.
straight out.
Fail.
Georgia, how about you?
8 or 9 because I think it was just a good movie. I couldn't care less about like the realisticness or any like of that. I just think it was generally just a good movie.
That could have been their target audience demographic as well.
That's true. Yeah, I would see that.
Yeah.
What about you?
6 or less. But yeah, more fighting. But the cinematography was great. The costumes were great. It was visually pleasing from start to finish.
Yeah.
The CGI
Yeah, so
stuff, yeah, fights, like I said, you could tell it was there, but it didn't ruin it. When she transformed into the bats and the bird and everything like that and still had the claw hand and everything, that was really good makeup and special effects there. I felt like I was in old ancient China somewhere. I felt transported to a new world, a new era. So that was good. But then everything else just kind of was like super subpar. So the visual experience of it and the amount of Chinese food that we had because we were eating dumplings and fried rice and like
nice.
yeah, all kinds of like yummies with our chopsticks.
We had sake too.
Yeah, we got some. Well, it's Japanese. But we got some. Sake.
I know, but hey, I do what I can. We live in a white place.
Right. So that brought it up to a 6 from say a 4.
All right, so I'm gonna rate it. I was gonna say 6.5. I'm gonna say 7 because of some of the things you said. Because I was like, I do think I thought it was well done from all the production standpoints of saying costuming, acting, casting, choreography, all that stuff. They would get me to a 10 had they addressed the sorceress story conflict better and incorporated more fight scenes. My goodness, what a wasted opportunity because again, Jet Li and Donnie Yen, what the heck? So
right.
and that's just the two I know quantities because I really sense that the actress, and again, let me go find her name. The main actress Yifei Liu. I please, I'm sorry. I will do better. But she seems like, and they even said in trivia they looked a long time for somebody who they thought could carry this role but also become a star. So we're likely to see her in future projects.
Yeah,
but she obviously had acumen for it, and see, I would like to learn more about what training she went through. But it looks like again, I want to see the act. They want to see all this fighting. So they could have got to a 10 if they'd done those two things better for me. So 7.
Yeah. Sounds like we had all had a good time and we're disappointed.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah, she liked it, dude.
Oh, she did like it.
She's the high rater, which is kind of interesting. Sometimes you have been the most critical in our past ratings.
2s and things.
So this is interesting.
I use 5 6s. I don't know what you mean by 2.
What's next on your movie-going nerd
movie
casting,
scene, rather?
social media, whatever?
I've got to figure out how I'm going to watch Tenet. That's the only one. I've got to figure out how to watch Tenet. That's it.
Okay. No, I've heard things. I mostly, again, busyness and stuff, but I'm like, need to hear that. What about us?
Tenet looks good. I don't know if we'll be in a movie theater the remainder of 2020 calendar year.
Yeah.
It's extremely busy for us all together, but me specifically, my plate is overflowing with full. So things are getting undone or not finished or uncompleted, however you want to say it. But I think our next one that we are really looking forward to is The Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian season 2.
Which is the end of the year. It's like December or something.
When is it coming out?
When is it?
We'd have to look it up. I think it's October through December again. Is the season. So it's coming up fairly soon. But also the Marvel shows on Disney Plus should be coming up.
October 30th, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Wait, Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Mandalorian season 2.
Oh,
Two days after my birthday and on Grandma's birthday.
Yay!
And we're looking.
Nice. I need to mark that on my calendar. I don't know why I didn't know when it was coming back out.
I didn't know it until I just looked it up, so don't feel bad. Because I knew it was somewhere in the future. That's all I had.
But yeah, so it's kind of streaming television for us. Sports is over because the Avalanche are out. We're Avalanche fans. But what came out yesterday as well is The Boys season 2. So that's one episode a week. I might wait till there's 3 or 4 episodes out and then kind of like binge it, because right then it'll be like midterms.
That's adults only. No children.
No children on that one at all. And we are currently going through Mission Impossible 1 through 6 with the kids. So we have 1 through 4 done, and we have 5 and 6 to go. And I think 4 is my favorite one.
I still remember seeing 4 in the theater. We went to see it, and we're starting to watch it, and I'm like, I cursed at Tom Cruise because I'm just like,
he's so
I don't like you, but gosh dang it, you make really good movies. So he's a problem for me.
Yeah. So that's on our list of things.
Wait, was that the one that had like the running on the biggest like building in?
Yes, where he's on.
I love that part.
He's in Dubai. Yeah,
it comes down the.
She was all like, "I would totally do that with the cable." We're like, "Oh no!"
Yeah,
You're not. Yeah. You don't even know. I've never been on a height that high. Ever. I already know from the movie, and the movie isn't even.
I would totally want to do it though.
All right. Well, next time we're in Dubai.
But yeah, that's kind of like our limited plate of things coming up. There could be things. We just finished watching season 2 of One Punch Man, and
you guys might like that, Vanita.
Was extremely disappointed with One Punch Man season 2.
Well, maybe you like season 1 then.
Season 1 is amazing, and it's on Netflix.
But it's about kung fu, and it's funny apparently.
Well, it's more. It's Japanese for sure, and it's Japanese and subtitled, so they didn't even bother dubbing it over. And it's for obscure manga called One Punch Man, and the premise is explained in the very first episode of the very first season. He is so strong, it only takes one punch to defeat any enemy anywhere.
Oh wow!
So then, how do you make that interesting? He's also the least motivated person ever. He's like the laziest dude. Yet he works all the time because he's super strong and just super apathetic. And it's hilarious. And season 2 just didn't feature him. There was 2 episodes where he's not even in it. So that's why
they can watch season 1. Maybe they'll get a kick out of it.
Season 2 is on Hulu and season 1 is on Netflix. So you have to have both. Okay. But season 1, I would watch it. It's amazing.
All right, wait. On the topic of anime, I want to say this on camera microphone thingy Bob. Naruto. I'm just saying it's great anime. I haven't seen it all because it costs money, but you won't let me.
You get that bathing finished, we can get Naruto.
Willis, I just know he pays us 20. He slips us a 20 about every few weeks because he wants to buy the next season. So that's an investment he's making. We just keep buying the next season on Amazon for him.
And I don't regret it.
And then I just watch it every now and then.
All right. Okay. Here's my logic. Dad said only 2 a month, and he gives me $40 a month for an allowance. Henceforth, each season of Naruto is $20. Henceforth, only 2 seasons a month will pay $40.
I don't know how he gets bad grades in math.
I
Henceforth,
don't know how he has any money.
Henceforth, it is. Yeah.
And say henceforth one more time.
It's a new month. Henceforth.
Like he doesn't buy anything.
I know he's a hoarder, which is fine.
Anyway,
no, I'm the hoarder.
Sounds like we've got some good stuff coming up this fall. Tenet does look so good, but
and we froze again. You still there? Oh, maybe everyone's watching Mulan.
Thanks again for watching our review and reaction to Mulan, the 2020 live-action version, available on Disney+. We hope you enjoyed it. Please let us know if you agree, disagree, what have you. This is available on unpause.com, which is our website, so you can go leave us your comments there. We're also on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So on Facebook and Twitter, we're at Unpause, and on Twitter, we're Unpause Podcast. But do leave us some reviews, leave us your comments, and please, wherever you are listening to this podcast, leave us a review there. That really gives us some good ideas as to, this is worth it, or good, or not, or whatever. You can review us just like we review the projects we review. So it's kind of like an endless circle. So be part of the circle. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on Unpause It.